We could go on a short list and identify things like forgetting your wing screws, that feeling when you're not supposed to cut 2 battery leads at once with metal scissors, or even that feeling when you leave your balls at home and walk away from the field because the wind is 3 knots gusting 6. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about bigger relatable issues in the hobby, like wishing you could get a sponsorship from Viagra because your average audience member's age is over 55. Okay, maybe that's just us, but either way, we're confident that you're not an RC pilot unless you can relate to at least 5 of these things. Up first is making excuses, specifically for crashing. Look, we've done it, you've done it, and so has the Catholic Church. Human nature is to instinctively blame external factors for your embarrassment. But the reality is, no one cares if you dumb-thumbed it because it happens to everyone. If someone does care, they aren't worth having around. If anything, people will respect you more for admitting it. Not to mention, you'll become a better pilot because of it, because it forces you to identify in your personal error chain where things fell apart. So next time your gut tells you to say, "It was the wind," consider yourself biased. How could you have corrected from the wind to avoid the windsock? Or, of course, ignore this advice and just have fun at your field. We don't care, so long as we get your ad revenue from this video. Up next, we have been told that what we do is play with kids' toys. We say it a lot, stay humble and remember we're all flying toy airplanes, but man, hearing it from someone outside of RC will make you want to return home, pull a Kanye, and destroy your reputation. Unfortunately, this hobby really isn't catered for kids. $499 for a model is a steep price for someone who can legally work 5 hours a week making $9 an hour, assuming they're not working in a sweatshop. And that's the reason we feel it triggers most folk, because they work their butt off most of their lives to be able to afford any plane they want. And now, they're being criticized for playing with kids' toys. Listen, pal, this is a Draco, alright? It's $500 of pure masculinity. Did you know Mike Patey made this? This is one of those things where it's either happened to you or it will. Flying at a non-AMA site and having someone approach you. This was the easiest one to write. Here's a short list of it. How fast does it fly? Fast enough for you to turn into Kool-Aid, bud. How far does it fly? Further than your eyesight will allow, 4 eyes. Can I try it? No, you cannot try it. The last thing I want is to watch you play whack-a-mole with an RC plane on the general public with a plane that has my AMA and FAA numbers plastered all over it. Is that a drone? No, it's a flying wang. You ever put a cat in it? Yes, I'm a unique breed of psychopath where instead of killing animals out in the woods behind my house, I enjoy giving panic attacks to innocent animals. I mean, seriously, what kind of answers do some of these folks really expect? We love nothing more than getting into the hobby, but it can be difficult to duct tape your mouth shut when it comes to questions we've all been asked 500 times. We would like to remind everyone, though, that the new people are the only thing that keeps this hobby alive, so responding to those outside of the hobby can help make or break it in the future. And as people working with manufacturers, the more of us in the hobby buying aircraft there are, the less expensive they become for all of us. Now it's time to make fun of ourselves. Influencers. The relatable feeling here is that we got sick of watching the same clearly paid opinions disguised as genuine reaction being promoted to our community. If you've been in the hobby for more than a month, we're sure you'll understand the frustration. It's so incredibly difficult to find an honest review on YouTube that isn't over 20 minutes long, where 10 minutes of the video is, about an RC plane. Now, full disclosure here, we do have a paid sponsorship coming up in a later video, so feel free to roast us in the comments of that one. On the flip side of the coin, the money we receive from it will be going right back into better, honest content for our audience. And of course, we'll disclose it and make it painfully obvious. But aside from the sponsorships, we also feel the community has grown tired of the exaggerated reactions that come from a non-event. Like, bro, you chipped your wheel, why are you acting like it's going to send you into poverty? Ultimately, the thing to keep in mind here that applies specifically to YouTube, and sometimes outside of it, is that everyone's trying to manipulate you into something. The question is, do you believe they have your best interests in mind? Having someone with an Aeroscout approach you and ask if a 120-inch Mustang is the next best plane for them. Look man, if you got the money for it, feel free to just throw it in a trash can, because we've never seen this scenario work out. You're right, the 120-inch Mustang will make it off the ground, but how it comes down is a gamble. Tip stall? Unable to keep up with the speed? Or better yet, being so focused on landing you fail to put the gear down. We're all about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, but there's a difference between being uncomfortable because it's outside your comfort zone and being uncomfortable because you're fitting into the kamikaze pilot stereotype. Remember, money does not equate to skill. On that topic, the feeling of your first flight and first crash is irreplaceable. As your time in the hobby increases, so does your desensitization to crashing. But at first, that feeling will make you believe for a brief instant that your wife was right. Why did you decide to spend half a paycheck on $400 of foam, only to have it gone in an instant? Eventually, you'll remember that feeling of your first successful flight though, and it'll make you want it all over again. So, like any good husband does, you'll lie to your wife and say you're going to the strip club, and meanwhile, you'll go to the hobby shop to get another plane beyond your skill level. Rinse and repeat. Spending half a paycheck on an airplane and having it arrive with hangar rash, or worse, a failed part. Almost every aircraft out there available in US markets is made in China. These manufacturers tend to try and produce as much product in one factory as possible to maximize profit. What this leads to is poor quality control. We would like to mention Flight Test has products that are made in the US, and as far as kits from them, we've never encountered a problem. So what can we as the community do about it? Not much, just voice your complaints and hope something will change. Kinda like politics. Aside from that, all you can do is support US-based manufacturers who stand behind their products when issues arise such as Flex, Horizon, Extreme Flight, and Northwest RC. Finding it difficult to fit into a club. Look, there's a lot of bad apples in any community out there, and some people took our previous video titled 10 RC Pilots You'll Meet as a reason not to go to an AMA field. That was not the message we wanted to get across. Yes, some clubs are better and more welcoming than others, but there are some things you can do to fit into your local club that aren't all that inviting. We all remember learning about the golden rule as a kid. Treat others as you want to be treated. Always offer to help someone who's struggling with something if you have the knowledge and can do it without being condescending. But hey, what if this is your first time on AMA turf? If it's a hot day, consider bringing water for everyone. It's a great way to break the ice. Or, if it's winter, maybe show up with coffee or donuts to thaw the ice. Either way, there's nothing old white guys love more than bribes. Now, onto our short list of honorable mentions. Spending a winter in the shop building a plane only to have it come home in more pieces than a serial killer victim. Dealing with the guy who asks for advice and then ignores it and wonders why he keeps crashing. His catchphrase is, "Please only give me advice, but only if it reinforces what I already think." The walk of shame. This is the guy's equivalent of seeing a girl walking home in a dress from the night before wearing only one heel. If you're at an RC field and see a guy walking towards the bushes with his head low, you know exactly what happened. The PTSD this hobby can bring. Here's some examples. The eternal memory that comes from blowing up something electronic because you plugged it in backwards. Taking off with your ailerons reversed. Forgetting to plug in the wing before flight.
I forgot to hook my ailerons up!
These are all lessons you've either learned or will learn, and trust me, you'll never forget them. While this video may not paint our hobby in the most positive light, our goal is to make it relatable in a way that you don't get outside of your friend groups. We'd like to unite a new kind of community through these experiences we're sure most of you have had. If you're interested in this, we just launched our Discord server, which goes live the second this video goes up. Feel free to join to come hang out with Ben, myself, and a bunch of other like-minded toy airplane pilots. Link is in the description. Let us know what you'd like to see from us next in the comments below. As always, hit subscribe, like, blah blah blah, but certainly don't forget to bounce one on for us, and have a happy landing. We'll catch you next week with a new upload.
Oh!
Nope. Alright, let's quit this.